Appreciate it very much. It really makes the building look a lot better than it is. So I'm going to try to do this quickly as I can, but I'm also not going to miss the opportunity to say the things that I really want to talk about. First of all, I've made jokes a long time through this about the fact that when Linda Seeley calls you on the phone and asks to have coffee or lunch, you know you're in trouble. You're either writing a check or you're going to do something else. But Linda, I just want to thank you because I really got to get through this. I've said it before. This has been the greatest blessing in my life, other than my family and Donna. The work here is just, it's been so important. With that, I want to thank Donna, who I said this job would be a couple hours a week. And it turned into a lot more than that. It's been wonderful. I want to thank the Atlanta Jewish Federation, who has been there with us since the very beginning, and without who we would not be where we are today. And the Marcus Foundation, of course, who helped in the structure we're sitting in today, and then stepping up once again once we all began to realize what was at stake. I also want to thank the community as a whole. I was going to name everybody, but I thought that might take a little long. But the community, once they began to really understand what was happening on campuses, so many people, and many of them in this room, have stepped up in a way that it's just been extraordinarily gratifying, but also recognizing how much work there was to be done. I want to thank our board, most of who have been with me for the 6 years when we started, and many of those who left when I became president. And I especially want to thank Bob and Stacy for their willingness to now take over, and I know they're going to do an incredible job, and because they both understand how important it is for the work that we have to do. I want to thank all of the students. I want to mention our staff. I want to make sure I thank our staff, because the staff does so much work that a lot of it goes unnoticed by a lot of people because they do it so well, and they're called upon to do the work of many, each individual, because we don't have this enormous staff to do the amount of work that has to be done. But I also want to thank all of the students, especially student leadership, who help us do that work and communicate the messages that are so important. I also want to talk about Russ, who I began to work with 7 years ago when he first came here, and then obviously over the last 6 years as president. We talk almost every day. We have an incredible relationship, and for any of you that don't know it, this is the Energizer Bunny right here. He does the work of I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people realize the amount of hours that Russ puts in when something comes up or anything that needs to be done. He'll put in whatever time is necessary, and I just want to thank you so much for the dedication you've had to allow and making such an enormous difference in where we are today. So thank you. Some of the things I really want to conclude with are things I've talked about anywhere I've had an opportunity to talk about the work of Hillel. 10 years ago, before my presidency, 10 years before my presidency, I went back through all of the material that Hillel had used for events and for fundraising, for whatever it may have been. And the word safe is not in one piece of that literature. And I would say that today it may be the first word in most of our literature, because the world has turned upside down in the last 6 years. There are so many things that we read about in the paper of anti-Semitism, some directly connected here in Georgia. I know you saw the thing about Gilly, you saw the thing about the eviction notices, but what you don't see, and why it's so important to support this organization, is the things that we proactively eliminate from happening. Things that when the other side knows that they're going to be made to look foolish, they don't do it. If Hillel weren't here, you would see more things happening on campus than you would not believe, because all you have to do is look at other places where Hillel is not strong, and you will see it happening on a regular basis. This organization needs to be supported. We are at the front line of saving Judaism. And that's it. That's why this has been so important to me. I've been chair of a number of organizations, and we've been able through boards to really accomplish amazing things. But I've never been connected to any board, including my own businesses, that I've ever felt this emotional to, because of what we stand for and what we have to accomplish. We have had much success, but I promise you this, there is so much more to do. When Bob mentions the fact that we need buildings, it goes back to the word safe. It was fine at KSU, and it was fine at Georgia Tech, and even UGA, where we have a building that was given to us for $1, and we overpaid. I'm glad you're all listening. But those places where we only have a room, and in some of those places, like at Georgia Tech, we don't even have a room anymore. I mean, we have to find space to meet. That was all well and good in the days when the only thing that students had to come to were programs. But now students want a place to come to study, to be with their friends, share a Shabbat dinner, but have a place that they can regularly go to. And that's why we want to build a building at KSU, we want to build a building at Georgia Tech, and we need to build a new building at the University of Georgia. And we hopefully, with community support, we're going to make that happen. We've seen in the last 6 years more students no longer self-identifying themselves as Jews. There's probably a lot of reasons for it, but probably the biggest one is that they're not sure that they would feel safe on campus if people knew that they were Jewish. And we've got to move forward in a way that eliminates that fear. As I said at our campus top talent just a number of weeks ago, our major job at Hillel is to make sure that students are not running away from Judaism, but running towards it. And I leave you today by telling you this. This has been a remarkable experience for me. I've had many important jobs. I've been really blessed throughout my whole life. But this has been by far the most important job I've ever had. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the hard work of our board and all the people I've mentioned, and for the relationship we developed, where I really got to begin to understand Israel and the importance of Israel, not just to the Jewish community, but to the world, which is the most important thing we could communicate about Israel, is how important it is not just to the United States, but to the entire world. The accomplishments that have come out of Israel are far more than probably have come out of any single country. And so, with that, I would just say thank you all so much, and we are adjourned.